Okay, let's get into it. Can't believe it. It's already Thursday. Um, like I said, been a slow week. But we're not going to force anything. But today looks good. This morning looks good. You guys know I love the pullbacks. So everything we're seeing right now, SPY pulling back to the 679.80. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, right game plan, long off of this. If we want to fall under this, fine. I'll be looking to play the reclaim. Like I said, I'm not really necessarily looking to take a trade on SPY, but this is solid. This is solid. Qs, beautiful. Like I said, if this thing wants to fall under, 217, we can't be surprised. Remember that. We can't be surprised. We still have this. Q's hasn't once this week even attempted to fill this gap. So if today it wants to be heavy, we got to remember we started this week off with a gap. We have to remember that. So what I'm looking for on the Q's is either we fall under this, and then I would definitely be looking for the reclaim, like the break and retest over this, or we get a big rally during open, pull back, buyer step up, and we go long. I was looking for this, right? We've been seeing it 3 days in a row. So this do likes to repeat itself. If buyers want to step in and defend 617 again, I like it. I kind of hope we stay heavy a little bit because, as you know, I've been saying I haven't got an opportunity to get my long down here. So I definitely will be looking for a pullback long off of 612.80 if the market wants to stay heavy. Nothing here. We are moving lower. We'll see. We'll see. I have my alert ready here on Tesla. I'm not saying we'll drop all the way from 423 to 410, but like I said, if we fall under this, I'm uh I'm bearish bias on Tesla. Bearish bias. So I'm gonna just make the assumption that, hey, since the overall market today or right now is pulling back, so is Tesla. I'm just gonna make that assumption. So we'll see how that goes in the intraday. Nvidia, beautiful. Right, I mean, the game plan coming into today was either a pullback long off of 190.10 or a break and retest over 195.60. We'll see how the price action goes. We'll see what it looks like with the Qs, because today would be day three. Us sitting between 195 and 190. So I'm just keeping an even number stuck, in this $5 gap. So we'll see. But I'm definitely having the video on my close watch list, right? I want to see buyers defend this 190.10. Apple, same game plan as it was yesterday and the day before that. If we can get a pullback along to this 271.40, solid. And then AMD, this is good for me. I think the deeper the pullback, the better. I kind of don't want to trade in this 250, 290, right? I'll go on the 1 hour. Like, see this channel? I'm just not fond of it. So, if we can get a pullback, right? This was my bull flag break I was looking for on 242.80. I'm definitely looking for that. And Palantir doing nothing right now. Still bullish bias on this name. So, some close watch coming into today is it's really going to be NVIDIA, uh, NVIDIA and QQQ, to be honest. If Apple can really pull back here, sure, I'll definitely be looking for it. But NVIDIA and QQQ, we'll see what AMD does. If it reclaims this, I'm probably hands off in that channel. But Qs is, you can see here, this 217.20, this is like really the best spot to go long here. So either we're just going to stay heavy and fill that gap, or actually hold and defend this level and then move higher. About 7 minutes here until market opens. So what I'm noticing here on NVIDIA um, is there's a little bit divergence here on this name compared to the Qs, just a little bit, not too much, but these names still somewhat look in sync. So, if I get this pullback here, I kind of just want to show you how I'm looking at the correlation. If I get this pullback here at 190 and QQQ wants to defend and stay over 617.20, those two are my entry confirmations. If Tesla wants to give up 617.20 and fill this gap, I'm probably not going to go long here. Like I said, I've spotted, even during last week, the correlation between AMD, NVIDIA, and the Qs and SPY really being the only one that has relative strength. So we'll see what setup we get here on NVIDIA. But see buyers defending the 617, right? 3 days in a row, we've actually opened at the top of this range and then pulled back. Today's right, I'm noticing this pattern. Today's the first day where we actually opened at the bottom of this range. So if I can get, somewhat of a pullback and strong buyer step in, I'm very open to going long down here, right? This is like the high probability entry down here. It's the high probability entry. So, we shall see what happens. We got about 5 minutes here now until market opens. About 3 minutes here until market opens. So something that I typically like to do as well. Um, you know, pre-market, go over my notes, all that stuff. Maybe some mistakes that I made during the week or the week prior. And one of the main things is looking for divergence. So look at AMD, clear divergence. Look at QQQ. See that? Right. Look at Apple. Look at that. Look at NVIDIA. Right. So I'm seeing some divergence here. AMD is a little weaker. AMD is a little weaker. You can see we're spilling off. Even better. I really would hope I can get something down here. I doubt it, but I wouldn't rule it out. But like I said, if Qs wants to fall under 617.20, if it really wants to do that, we could really see some downside on everything else, except for Apple. I mean, look at Apple; it's just divergence every day. So I'm gonna be patient here at open. Well, I'm always patient at open, but what I mean by that is, you know, um, Qs has a big gap to fill. I know I keep showing this, but I just want you to understand what I'm looking at and how I'm thinking. It's a big gap to fill. So a lot of thin volume, straight up, you go straight down. So if this thing wants to fall under here, um, we can really see some downside. So I'm being very cautious here. Just gonna read the price action. You know, see here, here, here. 3 days in a row, we've held this 617 support. So if it wants to do that and fill the gap, I won't be surprised. So we'll see. Okay, so I am noticing some relative strength this morning on NVIDIA compared to the Qs. Really nothing for me on Apple if it doesn't pull back down to 271.40. And then, we'll see how AMD looks. So we got about 30 seconds here till market opens. But I am spotting right now some divergence, relative strength on NVIDIA compared to Qs. But you can see we kind of got the breaking retest already during the pre-market. So if we don't pull back, remember, we can't be surprised. Can't be surprised. So okay, so we'll see what Qs wants to do. Remember, this thing has a gap. This is not bad. Can't panic. This thing has a gap. Right? So if I start to see buyers here on NVIDIA, I'm gonna have to pass on that just because Qs and NVIDIA is in sync. Remember, the only reason we've really been taking our shots here on Apple is just because Apple's been having clear divergence. So see AMD, right? I'd rather take a shot on AMD than NVIDIA if NVIDIA is going to be in sync with the Qs. Really nothing on Apple. Being very patient here. Look at NVIDIA, look at Qs. See, I don't like that. I don't like that. Look at those two candles. Identical. Two candles are identical. I spotted this last week. These two names are in sync. So, I'm not going long on NVIDIA if Qs doesn't want to show that, hey, buyers are starting to be in control. I can't do that. Market just opened, so I'm going to be a little patient here. Something for me on the Qs is like I would need a strong displacement candle to the upside and then a retest here. See what AMD, I'm sorry, not the best price action right now on AMD, so I'm not fond of that. All right. Remember, this is good. Qs is filling this gap. Qs is filling this gap. It hasn't even attempted to fill this gap once this week. So NVIDIA and Qs are just in sync. We can definitely see relative strength on AMD and Apple. Definitely can see relative strength on these two names. Okay. Not surprised here. I did say I want this pullback to 612.80. Right? So I'm just trying to teach you guys market structure and market objectives. Like, if you're a trader who doesn't understand that and you see, this market tanking right now, you're like, oh crap, we're bearish. Like, no, no, bro, we're just filling the gap. I'll go here on the daily. Yesterday, Palantir filled this gap. Like, see, we finally fell under this level. All this is a gap. All that's a gap. I hope this is starting to make sense. I hope it's starting to click to you. All we know is we're looking for pullback long entries. And this is why it's a little frustrating sometimes when you start the week off with just such a big gap fill. or a big gap up because you know eventually we got to fill that gap. Remember last week, that entire week was just a pullback long type of week. The entire market was just pulling back all the way up until Friday. Why? Because we started last week off with gapping up tremendously. And then if buyers, don't ever want to show their hands, we're not shorting anything until we fall under 587.85. Right? We're not doing anything until that. So I do like that this gap is going to fill fairly fast though. I'm intrigued by that. I mean, look at Apple and AMD, right? Really nothing on AMD. The price action isn't really too hot, but you can clearly see it's holding up when the overall market's pulling back. And then just look at Nvidia. Nvidia and QQQ are twins. Really nothing going on Apple. Apple did have a nice trendy day yesterday, so if it wants to consolidate today, I really wouldn't be surprised. To be honest, yeah, Apple really blessed us 2 days in a row. Didn't really get a deep enough pullback on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Yeah, on Tuesday, but Apple has been really, really clean. I will say that. Yeah, nothing going on Apple for me. They didn't pull back to our key level. This uh this 275.73 is the previous day high you're looking at. If Q's wants to reclaim this 617.20, I am very open to taking a trade on here. I really, really am. I wouldn't be surprised if Apple tries to make an all-time high today. I'm not really fond of AMD's price action, so I'm really just ignoring that. And we're sitting pretty much near this no trade zone, so you can clearly see this is not the price action you want. You want like more displacement candle closure than the retest. It's a big hammer stick candle on the 15-minute on AMD, so NVIDIA just straight downside 15-minute. If we can pull all the way back down to this weekly solid clear divergence for like the last 2 weeks on Apple, it's crazy. Let's look at Apple. This is the previous day high. This thing may make an all-time high, a new one, I think. Look at Apple, it's crazy. Unfortunately, just didn't get that deep enough pullback. Look at Tesla. Right? No coincidence buyers are showing their hands here. Like I said, as long as Tesla's above 410, like we're bullish bias on this name. I don't care if we fall under 410. As long as I can start trading this thing again, I'm good. So let me go here on the daily. I'm sorry, on the 1 hour. Yeah, as long as we're above 110. Because if it falls under 110, right, we still got gaps to fill. Have all this. So we'll see. It's at 418 right now. So we'll see. I'm curious. Q's look solid. It's filling this gap pretty fast. Starting to see this wick here. I would love a deeper pullback to 612.80. I would love a deeper pullback to 612.80. Look at Apple. So really nothing's in play here right now. We're really just waiting. Right? I mean, that's what trading is anyway. It's just waiting. This thing's a fallen knife, so 613.80, so I still need a deeper pullback. I would want us to remember, even if we fall under this, there's still a little bit more of a gap to fill. This is no surprise. Straight up equals straight down. We gapped up. We've been sitting high for 3 days, so it's finally just filling a gap. So for me personally, I would kind of prefer if we felt this level and then got a break and retest above it. That's just me. That's something I would actually kind of prefer. AMD pulls back just as much too. This was like my A plus long 242.80, but I never got it. So I don't know. This is how I trade. Like when I see these type of mornings, they're just big. I see them as opportunities. So I want to see like a base here and then strong buyer step up. Nice, nice. I was in some zeros there. It's not messing around. Not messing around. That was a good shot. That was a good shot. Bottom right, $1,400. Beautiful. Playing a trade, trade your plan. I wanted to see that. I understand I'm messing with zeros. I probably should have played next week, but I don't really care. I'm sorry, not next week, next day. So 1,400, pull back long off of the 612.80. That's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's been a slow week, so all right, look at that. You want to play maybe next day into week cons. Well, tomorrow would be into week cons, just to just so you can sit through that a little bit. But those contracts went up like 9%, 10% instantly. So right, some players come in and they they see this morning downside and they think, okay, we're bearish, right? It's like, no, not at all, not at all. Market's just filling this gap. It's subjective. You guys know me. I trade zeros very differently, so I don't really care to like sit in this and get greedy. That was like an instant 10%, and I did not scale down. So wait, did I? Give me one sec. Let me see. I mean, we can't make this up, bro. We can't make this up. Don't miss. No, I'm messing. I'm playing around. I'm playing around. I miss sometimes, but this. I mean, come on, bro. Come on. Okay, I went into that trade with roughly 18. That was a 7% trade. Like I said, zeros, I don't mess around. I'm not looking to be greedy. Um, but fairly a slow month for me, or a slow week for me, right? Last week we got blessed tremendously. This week, hey, I'm taking my base hits, bro. Playing your trade, trade your plan. I had 2 cash days in a row. I'm not looking to force anything. This market started up. This market started the week with a gap, right? This could really pay 10 times more, but I'm not messing around with a zero. But let me show you what I'm talking about, right? It's been a slow week, but look at Q's the last 3 days. Today is Thursday, so Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Yeah, so really since this week opened, look at us. We've just been stuck in here. We've just been stuck sitting sideways. Today we filled the gap, we pulled back. Like that's textbook, bro. Buyer stepping up, defending this. We were looking for that. That's exactly what you want to see. That's exactly what you're looking for. Right, we're starting to see buyer step up, defend this. That's no coincidence. Straight up equals straight down. when I go into that heavy with a zero, I'm not messing around. So I'm just understanding market conditions and context, right? It's always easy to say, oh, I should have held, but nah. Zeros, like I tell you guys, I'm a risk manager before I'm a trader. So, 7% in a couple of seconds, I'll take that. But this is what I mean when I say when the market's pulling back and we're trending, you're just looking for pullback longs. It makes life easier because you come into the day knowing, well, I know I'm not looking to short. I know I'm not looking to short. And that takes, decision making skill out of your head, right? You don't have to have that pressure of, oh crap, morning downside, do I short? Do I short? No, you just wait for the pullback longs off the key levels. And today, Q's blessed us with that. This thing is rallying right now. Look at that. So solid day. Give me one sec. Right, just base hits. Just base hits. Last week we got blessed. This week just taking base hits, right? It's not always going to be, really big hits. Maybe I could have held this longer, but I'm conservative on zeros. Playing a trade your plan, and that's exactly what we got. So quick one here. It's not even 7 a.m. for me yet. If Nvidia reclaims this 190.10, I'm open to that. Wow, what a rally. And when this thing pops up and those pullbacks, I'm not messing with that on the zero. Those things hurt. It's crazy. My contracts are actually up 13%, and then on that slight little pullback, I got to feel like at 7 or 8%. But see, it's been fairly a slow week, so I did not scale down going into this. I did not scale down. Just my advice, to each their own. If you're messing with a zero, you should not be going full size. You should not be going full size on a zero. That's just me. Let's see. Big to like one trade a day, but hey, if this was the pullback, like this was the dip, maybe I should have played next day cons, but I know those contracts don't. Each their own. I just know that SPY and Qs on average moves to maybe like $5 in a day, 7 if it's a great day. So I know like the underline's not going to pay me that well when I play further out contracts. So that's why I only really trade these two names with zeros. Kind of like Apple, right? Like Apple on a Monday, like those contracts aren't going to move compared to a Friday. You know what I mean? So I hope that makes sense. Like, you see, when you get these type of pullbacks on zeros, like man, those hurt. These hurt a lot. That's why when you see people trade them, they're selling and scaling into the momentum pushes. Those hurt. You guys know me. I like to like really hold my trades and manage them on the higher time frame. But for me, I see zeros as like a great opportunity to make quick money and get in and out. Of course, this thing's like V-shaped recovery trending, but I've lost more than I've won really trying to like hold these things because remember you have theta against you. So if you get like a big momentum pullback, even if you're above your entry point, those contracts would be like in the red. It's crazy. Like, they're just very volatile, very, very volatile. That's why I always say like, hey, if you want to trade the SPY and the Qs, especially with a small account, I really recommend playing like next day expiration. I really recommend that until you get comfortable and detached and all that. Then you can start having some fun with some zeros. But until then, I would say just mess around with next day. So you did get a break and retest here on AM. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Never mind. Actually, yeah, I would consider this. Yeah, that's a good displacement candle closure, and it's above the high day. Right, body candle here. That's good. Instant retest here. That's just a no trade zone for me, so I'm good. But see, I'm watching. Look at Nvidia, and look at Qs. These these candles are identical, very very identical. If this sets up again, I know I'm big on being one and done, but I'm open to taking a trade here on Qs over this T1720. And I played at the money cons on Qs. That's another thing. Whenever I'm playing with a zero, those contracts definitely pay you more if you play a strike price out of the money and it starts to climb. But remember, you always have to think about, don't think about the positives, in my opinion, when I trade at least. I'm thinking about, okay, what can happen if this trade goes against me, right? So I'm always playing at the money cons on a zero. Always, always, always. We had a really good entry here. 6 to 80. We had a super solid entry. That was solid. Like, look at the, like, that was just patient reading. Like, look at the, great entry. This trade never dipped in the red. That's clean execution. That was a solid shot. I was really patient there, like, just trying to read the price action. And guess what? I've heard people, tell me like, hey, Cal, like, I'm trying to trust my levels. It takes time. It takes time, right? This is a falling knife. And for me to put on that much size and to say, hey, I'm trusting my level, I'm going long, I see buyer step up, right? That wasn't overnight, right? That takes time to say, you know what, even though we're melting to the downside, I understand we're filling the gap, the market is bullish, I'm looking for a pullback long. And as soon as I see this and I wait for this candle to close, this hammer stick candle, I see buyer step up again. That's beautiful. Like that does take time though, you know? Emotions do come in play when you put risk on. It definitely comes in play when you put risk on. There's no doubt about that. Man, these contracts will be up like 10K right now. It's crazy. No regrets though. I do not mess around with zero DTEs. I do not. Let's see. Might call it here. I think stick around to 7:30 for you guys. Another half hour. It's 7 on the dot, so quick work day. I'm glad we were able to take this trade together, right? Plan your trade, trade your plan. I think if I was really like looking for a swing, I probably should have played maybe Monday cons because this was the dip kind of been looking for. Only thing is, technically, we still do have a gap under this. Technically, we do. We do. See, look at AMD. Look at Qs. These names are just in sync. That's something I'm noticing. Spy, not Spy. Apple looked a little promising. Looked a little promising. I thought this thing was going to run. But we're just in between the previous day high, the previous day low at the top of the range. Crappy price action on AMD. I mean, if you caught this, you definitely got, depending on how you managed it, definitely caught it. But for me, coming into today, this was a no trade zone. Show you what I mean? No trade zone. I don't want anything to do in between 264 and 252. I'm watching Tesla. I am watching Tesla. You get a lot popping off this morning. Really trying to read this stuff. Give me one sec. Like, look at Tesla, bro. I don't think like no one's really touching this name right now. At least on the long side. Probably a lot of scalpers right now. Volume's higher on the short side right now compared to the long. Look at Qs. This is why I understand, when to hold trades and when not to. On tech names, when I got expirations on Fridays, I'm holding that thing. I'm looking for continuation. Making 10, 20% in a couple of seconds, right? Like, I understand not to overstay my welcome, not to get greedy. You can't sit in this on zeros. You got to ride the momentum and get out to each their own, or just scale very heavily and leave some runners. But let's see. Sorry, I've not been quiet. I'm trying to focus on this. It's like Thursday. I will have to play at the money Collins on Tesla. The trend is your friend. People try and fight this, bro. If we break and retest under 410, I'm open to that. What did price open up at? 424. Price is sitting at 411. All right, so far we've roughly had a $13 move. But remember, two things can happen here. Either we pull back and strong buyer step up and push this thing higher, or we fall under. And now we are bearish bias on Tesla. So it really wasn't part of my game plan to look at this thing today. You can see nothing really happened on the techniques. If you got in on AMD, that's solid. Remember, as long as you're sitting above 250, 290, your thesis is valid. It's not incorrect. You just got to sit in that. But see this crappiness? This is why I avoid no trade zones. This is exactly why I didn't even want to touch AMD. I really wanted this pullback way down here to 242.80. Never really got it. I'm seeing this pop here on the Qs. I'm very big on like one and done, but honestly, if Qs reclaims this 617.12, I mean 20, I'm open to taking a trade on that. I'm very open to taking a trade on that. So look at NVIDIA, then look at Qs. So it's like if I want to go long on NVIDIA, I would need Qs to get over the 617.20. I would need that. AMD, if you caught the break and retest over that, solid. Kudos to you. It's just crazy how these two names are identical. I just can't get over that. Just look at Qs, look at NVIDIA. Even the same wicks. Look at that. These things are identical. Right, if we can get over this, right, that's continuation higher. It's a dip. I'm open to taking a shot again. Very open to that. Right. I would just scale down here. I'm just not messing with zero. We've already made, yeah, 1400 on the day. So I'll probably just go into this trade with like 10K, one strike out of the money. I just want to ride this momentum. Strong buyer step up on Tesla at 410. That's a beautiful level to really go long. Breaker structure levels are like the biggest levels to look for pullback entries. Why? Because it's a breaker structure. So it's either going to be super strong buyers or sellers defending that, or it's just going to give it up. I mean, beautiful analysis here on Qs, bro. That's spot on. Yeah. I'm not really focused on anything except for Qs. SPY's breaking over 679.85, so that looks super solid. Look at Tesla. Tesla. Maybe could have held that a little longer, but no regrets. Tesla looks solid on this 15-minute. Like buyers defended this thing so aggressively. AMD starting to trend higher. Beautiful. You'd love to see it. We want to see Apple pull back. Yeah, super slow week for me. Very slow week. I've only taken 2 trades this week. Both like pretty much base hits. I was in some big trades too, like Apple. If you watch the live trading session on Monday, like on how I managed that trade, we kept pushing to the high day and rejecting 3 times, so I had to get out. Just reading the price action, market structure. As soon as I got out, that thing ripped, but no regrets there. And then everything's always easier to say in hindsight. Solid trade today though on Qs. It's mostly 7%. I actually tried to sell at 13%, but ended up getting caught in a pullback. But super solid on on Qs. Let me see. I was in this trade for yeah, barely a minute. Barely a minute. But you can see here on Qs, right? It's really just a scout. So 1400 bucks in barely a minute. I really can't complain about that. SPY has reclaimed this 679.85. This thing went to key level to key level. If you got this today, you got paid for sure. I get a break and retest over these. I'm taking it. I want to see displacement. Oh, look at AMD, bro. No surprise. I mean, we saw this thing having relative strength prior to market open. I mean, at market open, looked like it had relative weakness, and then you can clearly see Q's just pulled back this entire morning, but Nvidia, I'm sorry, AMD and Apple started to have relative strength. Q's and SPY are in sync. If SPY can break through this high day, it's either going to be Q's or Nvidia. It's either going to be Q's or Nvidia. I'm trying to be very patient here and read this. I need a pullback though on this. It's a big rejection here on the SPY at the high day rejection. Same here on the Q's actually. Maybe intraday double top. 617.46. Maybe a little bit more displacement. All right, and that's why we wait for the retest and we don't trade breakouts or momentums. Look at that. It's in sync. 7:30, so I don't really want to say that, it's exhausted, but I might not force this. It's only 1400, but only reason I'm not long in here is because I'm looking at SPY right now, and I don't like what SPY is doing. And these two are pretty much in sync. That's the only reason. Yeah. That's how we avoid fake outs. Hmm. All right, well, maybe that was my sign not to take another trade. Really could have been a monster day here. A monster day. No regrets though. I do not mess around with zero DTEs. I personally don't like trading them. Like you guys know, if I don't have any other setups on my tech names, I'm pretty much looking for a trade on Spyro Qs if it sets up. So, solid day. Alright, let's try. Like right now, this spell that you guys see is on Spy as well. Look at AMD. This thing is holding market structure though, right? It's making higher highs. We are trending higher. Yeah, I might call it here. Slow week, slow week. But less is more. Like I said, if I definitely held this, big payday for sure. But less is more. Like you don't need, 4 trades, 5 trades in a week, to make big money. Like I said last week, the market blessed us. I broke that down in the pre-market video coming into today. Out of 5 trading days last week, I only had one cash day, which was Wednesday. And this week, right, only 2 trades, base hits, nothing spectacular. I mean, week's not over. We still got tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. But let's see. So I'm curious on Tesla, bro. I'm very curious because the thing about Tesla is, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say it's showing relative weakness compared to, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. This is a big breakout right now. This is a big breakout right now. Buyers are trying to defend this though. Buyers are definitely trying to defend this 410. I will say that. This is a big deal. I'm really trying to be patient and read this thing. We're making lower lows, so there really hasn't been a break of structure. The downside is clean. We opened up at 420. Let me see. Yeah, 424. So I'm gonna keep it an even number. We've pretty much had a $14 move. So I know on average these things move 15 to 20 bucks in a day. So I don't feel like we're necessarily too extended yet. Give me a sec. Or if this thing sets up and I get some displacement, I'm open to it. It's Thursday. I'm gonna play at the money cons. Let's see what happens here. This is a big break. This is a very big break. Look at this on the daily. Look at that on the daily. I need more displacement than that, but straight downside. This looks solid. Hey, if Tesla can stand 410, we're back in play. It's crazy how fast chain of events has occurred. These 2 plays were last week. I took 2 trades in a row last week on calls on Tesla. And now we're sitting below 410. That's wild. This thing was sitting at 473. This is just like a beautiful downside trend. The only thing that would make me a little hesitant to take in this trade is just the momentum. Very slow momentum right now. SPY and Qs is pulling back though. So strong buyers here on the 15 minute. This is a big wick right now for me on the 15. Like I said, we're already about like $14, $15 in, and that's the average, move on this name. So either we're just very extended, like momentum just died down tremendously. I'm being cautious here. Or remember, this is a breaker structure. So this could be, a squeeze and feels this thing higher. I don't know. We just gotta read it. But on the 15 minute, this thing is buyers are definitely stepping up here. Could just be a lower low forming. Like I said, we're bullish biased as long as we're above this. I'm trying to read this. I'm not looking at short anymore as long as we're above 410. So that idea's out the window. See, I feel like we're just maybe a little extended. That's all. It's a Thursday, so I do not want to get into this thing and there's no momentum. Yeah, see, that I don't want. Yeah, I might just have to call it here. I'm not gonna force that. Yeah, buyers are definitely trying to defend this 410. But now it's something on our radar for tomorrow for sure. I'm not gonna force this trade. It's fine. I had a good day. Only way I take two trades in a row if it's like it's just screaming at me. You can see Hughes ended up rejecting the top of here. Support, support, we broke, we retested that, turned into resistance. That's just not enough momentum for me to even take that. It's already 733. Could have for sure, but it's all good. But let's see. But yeah, one last time, slow day, slow week, base hits, right? Not every week is gonna look, like this. Not every week's gonna look like that, but when my opportunity sets up, I'm gonna take them 100%. I'm always gonna take my shot. So we got 2 whole weeks left. Today really could have been a monster day, but no regrets there. I always trade zero DTEs very differently. Um, so out of all my executions, the only day I wish I got back was this trade I took on Tesla. Other than that, everything else is solid. Um, for those who are new, just go check out last week's recap and I break down each trade individually. But right, to me, this is like patience, right? I'm able to show up and sit on my hands and not take anything if nothing sets up. Like that's patience. You know what I mean? Like I always say, some of the best traders can show up and do absolutely nothing. So that's what we're going to continue to do, right? Just wait, take our setups when they show their hands, and that's all we can do. So what you see here is Qs. Qs. Remember, we still have this gap. Give me one sec. Q's did a really good job today filling this gap, but all this is still the gap. Can't forget that. Cannot forget that. Right, so we did get a break, good displacement retest, but already taken a trade, so I don't want to force that. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. I'm gonna definitely call it here, but a lot of names pulling back. So when I see this on the higher time frame and we're bullish bias and we're trending, I see these as opportunities. I know I'm not looking to short anything. Like Apple, I want this retest for this 271, but like I've been breaking down. Remember, we ended up breaking this level here. This 264.05, and we never retested that. So even next week, if this thing wants to stay heavy, we still need, a long off this 264.05. Tesla's back in play though. Tesla's back in play. Tomorrow we stay under 410. We're back in play. If we open up above 410, we're just back in our no trade zone. Let me see. Yeah, that's a big deal. It's a very big deal. What I've been trying to teach you guys, like market structure. Right, we trend higher, consolidation. What are we waiting for? Either our next leg higher or our next leg lower. So right now in Tesla, I mean, this really could just be our next leg lower. Really could. Right, see this? I don't want to be in. Right, we're already so extended. I don't want to be in that. Yeah, this is definitely a breaker structure play. This is definitely a breaker structure play. So Tesla's back in play. We'll see how tomorrow goes. I'm not gonna be too aggressive tomorrow on Tesla, just because it's a Friday. Even if it sets up, this is all like ifs, right? But if it's a big opportunity, I'll probably just play next week cons. So you definitely want to be able to sit in the trade and let it play out. But only A plus trade today was really off of Q. So if you caught that, kudos to you. Um, like I said, it takes time, right? To go look at majority of my other videos. I've only been taking longs. It takes time to see something like this and have the confidence and conviction to go long. Like that's understanding market structure in my system, right? So this pullback that we see today on Qs is good. And honestly, I hope we fall into this and continue lower. We still have this gap to fill. We still have this gap to fill. So I hope we do that. But the trend is your friend. The dip is your best friend. Something I'll show you here really quick. Give me one sec. Filters. I'm not looking for. Uh, One sec. I'm trying to find long, right? Apply filters. See how nothing's changed? Nothing's changed. Every single trade, you can see one filter up here, long. Every trade that I've taken this month is to the upside. Every single trade. The trend is your friend, the dip is your best friend, right? Everything. Call, right? NVIDIA, call. I'm just looking for pullback longs, right? These are the highest probability setups of the key levels. See what I mean? Everything is just long. So trust me, I'm practicing what I'm preaching. What I'm telling you is I'm not looking to short anything as long as we are bullish, bullish bias on the higher time frame. We're trending on the weekly, we're trending on the daily. It's exactly what we're looking for. Just trying to teach you guys how to identify high probability setups and take stress off your shoulders. Something you hear me say is like, life is what you make it, trading is what you make it. And once you get through the learning phase and controlling your emotions, you really do realize that you control how easy or not easy it can be